Hey there, everybody. Happy Friday Eve day. I am so excited to be here with my guest expert, Brenda Cadman. We are going to be talking about all things Canva, basically how to get organized in Canva. Give me 1 second, and I'm going to make sure that I'm actually live in our group where I need to be. Yep, I can see this. Awesome. All right, my friends. So as you know, I've got Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube going on through StreamYard right now. If you're coming to us through Facebook, please go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give permission for Facebook to show your name to us so that when you ask a question or have a comment, we know that it's you and we can help you. And as I said, I've got my guest expert here, Brenda Cadman. She is a certified Canva professional. So get all your questions ready. She can help us navigate this software system with ease. And you guys know I'm all about building a business with ease. But first, I want to introduce myself, and I want to share with you, full disclosure, I'm on the tail end of, I hope it's the tail end, of a respiratory thing. So I've got cough drops galore, and I hope that I do not end up having a coughing or a sneezing fit. But the show must go on, as they say, right? I'm Tracy Beavers. I'm your business and sales coach. And with almost 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth, I have coached hundreds of entrepreneurs just like you to get visible so you can grow your audience, grow your email list, and get consistent monthly income without paid ads. You can gain the income you want and grow your email list with ease. And you know the key to business success is having a strong email list. And when you coach with me, I am all about a roadmap. I give you a roadmap of clear action steps so you could get your blinders on and go to work and not be distracted by shiny objects or new ideas or anything like that. We work on those together. And every strategy that I teach you leads to email list growth and visibility. I've got private one-to-one coaching. I've only got one spot left with a start date in a couple of weeks here in about the middle of March. And so if you want to achieve your big, scary goals this year, hire a coach. Even if it's not me, I'm going to encourage you to hire a coach. There is nothing like having somebody that is right there with you that can guide you and get you there faster and more focused than you would on your own. And I want to shout out my Business Visibility Made Easy students. This is my 8-week group coaching program. It opened up earlier last month, and they received module 2 last week, all about live video, everything they need to know from idea to actually pushing the live button in order to have massive success. And if you're interested in that program, the doors are going to open up again here in a few weeks towards the end of April. Go to tracybeavers.com/BVME for Business Visibility Made Easy and get on the wait list. And again, if you're coming to us through Facebook, please go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give Facebook, and you only have to do it one time. And that way, every time you're here live with me, StreamYard will give me permission to see your name. All right. We're talking about all things Canva. Get those questions ready. Let me introduce my friend Brenda. I'm so excited she's here. Brenda is as I mentioned, a Canva certified expert and she is from Prince Edward Island, Canada. I think that is so exciting. I've never been to Canada. I intend to go. It's on our list. After spending more than 2 decades supporting businesses with their website development needs, she now focuses solely on teaching entrepreneurs just like us how to use Canva effectively and efficiently. And I love that she has a background in website development because that means her brain does things that mine doesn't, because my tech is not my love language. So this means that she can really help us navigate this thing. She has taught thousands of people just like us through her courses, and she loves to help business owners tame their hot mess Canva accounts. And ours is a hot mess right now. I know Jill feels that same way. And she helps create that organizational system that gets you in and out of Canva, getting exactly what you need so that you can spend time doing the things that you love. Brenda, is there anything else that you'd like to say about yourself before we dive in? Anything that I forgot?
I think you checked off all the big points. Yeah, those are the ones I usually speak to for the most part. And I think it is important to know that you mentioned I was running website development for over 2 decades. I've been an entrepreneur for over 23 years now. So
Holy cow.
I understand how, using Canva is fun, but understanding how to use it to actually serve your business goals, I think is another,
Yes.
part of that.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that. You've been an entrepreneur. Oh my gosh. You said 23 years?
Yeah.
So when I say being an entrepreneur is a freaking roller coaster, that's true, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because I know everybody here feels
Very
that
well.
way, but I want them to hear that from you because you've been doing this for 23
Still
years.
is.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out because that's super key to know. Okay. Let's jump in. Our, our Canva account, I have my assistant Jill who helps me with anything, and she is my Canva person. But even she said the other day, we need to get in there and organize it a little bit better. And I let her do that. So I'm anxious to hear this too. How can we organize that homepage when we go in there and we see all the things? Tell us how to do that.
So the quick answer to that is you can't organize the homepage of Canva. And this is what throws a lot of people off. They are looking for ways to drag and drop and to put some sort of order to that homepage because it is completely overwhelming. It feels like it's trying to be everything to everybody and provide shortcuts to every possible tool within the program that you might want to use.
Mm-hmm.
And it's meant to be that way. It's meant to be a launch pad really for all the different places and things you might want to do. But if
Right.
you already know that you want to get in there and you want to just get into your designs, you want to access something that you've already created, that homepage can be very, very overwhelming. So what I really like to encourage anybody who's using the program, more than occasionally, is to head straight down to that projects area. So if on the left-hand side where you've got the home option, underneath that it says templates, I believe, and then you're going to see something that says projects.
Okay.
If you go there, that's where you have your organizational capabilities. That's where you can create custom folders. You can create yourself a lovely Canva filing cabinet. That's where you're going to find all of your images, all of your designs, everything that you need in order to create the content that you want to create. And that's where you're going to be able to put some order to it. So
Got it.
you can't do anything about that homepage. So until that changes, my strong recommendation is just skip right over the home screen altogether and go straight to projects.
Okay, that's a really good tip. And let me back up for a second because I announced this, but I'm not sure that I know exactly what it means. I think I know what it means, but I want to make sure everybody knows what this means. When somebody is a certified Canva or verified expert, I think is what you call it.
Canva verified expert. Yeah, that's the term.
Okay, I want you to tell us, and don't be humble. How much time did that take? What does that mean? And because I know you've got like a direct hotline to Canva, so tell us about what that means and how important that is.
So it's not a certification. It's not actually something that you go through and you do exams. If it's not something like a Microsoft certification where you take a lot of, I very much want Canva to have a certification and they know that. But it's really more of a program. We were hand selected. This isn't something that you can apply for.
Nice.
When the program was launched last year, so there was a different kind of certified creatives program prior to that.
Okay.
They retired that and they launched this verified experts program early 2022. And when it first launched, I think there were 20 of us, and there's now, I believe we're at 44 of us now worldwide.
Wow.
And we were hand selected basically by Canva's community managers. You have to be kind of nominated and selected. And it's really based on the kind of content that you're putting out,
Nice.
How you're educating. You're bringing something to the table in terms of representing Canva in a really positive way, educating people about how to use the program. Some of my fellow verified experts are, quite successful YouTubers. Others are really specialized in teaching in person, face-to-face kinds of workshops. So they're not talking to as many people, but they are far more creating much more of a personalized experience. Everybody's a little bit different, which is why it's lovely to call so many of these people my good friends now, because it's a very collaborative sort of environment, because we do each have different areas of expertise. I'm the only one that specializes in the organizational side of it. Others might have a specialty in how to use Canva to in conjunction with KDP to self-publish. Others are specialized in video. So
okay, that's really cool.
Yeah. So
and there's only 44. There's only 44.
There's 44 of us. I know that'll change, and who knows how many will be added sometime this year, but I will always be one of the first 20. So can't take that.
I love it. And somebody said they just watched your training sponsored by Canva and they thought it was really great. That's awesome.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to we can't organize that homepage, but we can start putting everything in those project folders. That's what you mean, right? So if we've never organized our Canva account. And it looks like the cluttered junk drawer in our kitchen. And we don't even want to look at it. What is the way, like, how can we tame this beast? What's the best way to get started?
I mean, the first thing you really have to do is ask yourself, how much bandwidth and time and energy do you have to put into this? And be honest with yourself. If you really want to tackle this, if you're newer to using Canva and you don't have that much in the backlog yet, and you really want to get this under control and organize everything that you have in there, then just jumping in and starting to assess what you have, do an initial purge of the things you don't need, starting to create that folder system and filing things away. You're going to feel more capable of tackling that. But a lot of what I see are folks who've been using it for a very long time. And particularly if you're a power user, you may have thousands of designs. And so one of the things I do are these, I do organization VIP days. So I'm often in these power users Canva website or Canva accounts. And there's often well over 1,000 images in the uploads folder to be sorted through. And often they have names that don't make any sense, or there's multiple copies of the same image being uploaded over and over. And it's like, well, okay, where do you start with that? If you're busy, you have other things you want to do, or just looking at it makes you want to weep. And I understand that. And so the tendency is to just avoid it altogether, and to just figure, it's important, but it's not urgent. We're going to deal with that down the road. And then down the road never comes. And in the meantime, and particularly if you have team members, you're spending a lot more time looking for the content and the designs that you've already created. And you're wasting a lot of, billable time looking for content that you shouldn't be. So there's a real tangible, like, financial cost to not getting organized. And for those folks, it's okay to just create a folder that, is future Tracy's problem, and move all the old stuff, maybe everything that is older than 6 months, just move it all into there. And start fresh. At least be organized moving forward. Give yourself permission to be organized moving forward and to slowly tackle that backlog over time. But I don't want that to be the reason that you're not actually getting in and doing something about everything that you create from today forwards.
Nice.
So it really depends on what you feel capable of doing.
I love what you just said. Basically, because me, I would go in there and be like, I got to do all this. I got to spend the next 24 hours just, so what you're saying is take everything in there, put it in one folder that says, like, through March 2nd, 2023, everything in there, and then start fresh, organizing as I go.
Yeah, start fresh. And I will add a couple caveats that, there is a limitation to how much you can put into a single folder. Like you can create subfolders, but a single folder can only contain, if you're on the pro plan, it can contain up to 1,000 items. If you're on a free plan, it's only going to have up to 200. So you might have an arc, maybe you just have a future folder, and in it is, designs to this, and break it down by year even. Maybe you just do that initial setup. It is going to take time. Right now, there's no way to kind of click all and move all. You are going to have to select multiple and move in batches. And that can be quite time consuming. So it's still going to take time. There's no quick way to do this. If you want to clear off that projects area. And I do find it's important to get that cleared up if you just want to be able to focus on the files that you actually need to access. So this is where, though, if you have an assistant, it's a great project to just hand off to an assistant with some guidelines where you can say, listen, break it down into a folder for, a future Tracy folder. In there's a folder for designs, there's one for images, and then move all the images for 2022 into a 2022 folder, 2020 into a 20, and so on. At least there's some sort of chunking of it to get it put away. And then you can start looking at, what are the kinds of folders that I'm going to need to create for the new content? Do I need one for social media? Do I need one for presentations and marketing assets? Do I need one for brand assets? Do I need one for clients? what kind of content am I creating, doing that
Right.
brain dump of what am I creating and how does it chunk down into some natural categories.
Got it. I like what you just said there too, because one of my questions was, what types of folders should we be doing? But I like that you said it's basically whatever's going to serve you in your
Oh
business.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's going to be a little bit different. There are some folders that I find I am consistently creating for clients. There's going to be an archive folder for the stuff that you might need future reference to, but you just don't need to have current access to, and
Mhm.
just gets it out of the way. So it's kind of like your long-term storage. And then, I mean, there's usually a brand assets folder for things that aren't your logo and your color palette and your fonts. If you have
Mhm.
icons, if you have patterns and headshots and brand photography, not even brand photography, but maybe other kinds of visual components that aren't fitting into your brand kit, you might have a folder for that. If you have any kind of clients, you're going to have a client section. But
Okay.
every business is different. Every
Right.
Not only is every business different in the kind of content that you're creating, it also every business owner is different in terms of how they intuitively search for information. There will
Mhm.
be some folks who, you know, if you're creating a set of social media graphics around a blog post, maybe you naturally would search for that content based on the blog post. And you might have like little folders for each blog post that contain the LinkedIn graphics and the Facebook graphics and the Instagram graphics. Other people are going to search by platform. They might want to have a social media folder and then an Instagram folder, and within that maybe a Reels folder and a Stories folder and a Feed folder, and they're going to break down their content that way.
Got it.
So it's important to figure out, how would I naturally go look for this? If I had to open up a filing cabinet and look for this piece of information that
Yep.
I'm putting into it, where am I going to go back to find it later? And then
Okay.
if at any point it feels like there's a lot of friction when you go to look for it,
Yeah.
you probably need to refine the particular breakdown that you've used.
Got
But
it.
again, don't let that hold you up from creating folders, because you can change it. This is not written in stone.
Right.
Get it, try it, and once it's working, stick with it.
I love it. I love it. And then another area that I know Jill and I use a lot is the uploads, where
Yes.
we're uploading images like headshots of me. And I know
Mhm.
she works with other clients as well. So she's got their headshots and things like that. How is there a way? Because I don't know the answer. I know you do. Is there a way that we can make sense of that? Is there a way to organize that?
So you can't create folders inside of the uploads folder, but I don't want you using the uploads folder more than as a temporary holding ground. So that's not where I want you storing your images.
Okay, tell us what
Um,
you do.
the same way you can create custom folders for your designs, you can create custom folders to house your images as well. So think about, that is one of the folders I think every business owner does need to have, is something called images or photos. And
Okay.
then within that, it's going to be broken down based on the kind of photos that you're using. So I have one folder that's called styled stock photos, and then within that it's broken down by source website. There's one in there for styled stock house, there's one in there for hot stock, there's one in there for social curator, there's one in there for pixie stock, and it's broken down. And then within that, it's broken down either by subject matter, like topic of the kind of imagery, or by the color palette.
Uh-huh.
Again, break it down kind of how you would search for it and what kind of photos that you have. But then, because you can access your projects folders from within the design editor, you can easily go find those photos later, rather than having to, not even like dig deeply through an uploads folder to find
You're
something that you might have uploaded ages ago. And I guarantee you, people are uploading the same images over and over because it's faster to find it on their computer and re-upload it than it is to dig through that mess and find it on their
yeah.
on their uploads.
I'm
So
guilty.
it absolutely, most people are, because they think about folders in the context of their designs, not in the idea of moving it out of their uploads, and organizing their images. But basically, it's a switch in how you use uploads, where it's just becomes a temporary kind of like the in tray on your actual physical desk.
Right.
Once it's there, use it and then file it away,
Hmm.
or get rid of it if you don't need it.
Okay.
And even better, create that folder structure and then just upload the images directly into the folders in the first place and bypass uploads altogether.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good tip. People are commenting, their minds are, because in my mind I was like, "Whoa, I didn't know we could do that." That is
Yeah.
such, because you're so right. Like I find myself uploading the same image because it's faster, and
Hmm.
I'll try to dig through the thing and can't find what I want. I'll just upload it again, and so I'm sure it's created a massive mess. Jill, my assistant, I apologize to you now. I can hear her going, "God, why are you in there?" Because I just make a mess of everything. But that's such a good tip. So when we start our organizational process, we were talking about creating those project folders, and
Hmm.
then those uploads, we can also create a folder for images
Hmm.
and sort of organize those in the best way for us and for our business, and how we can go back and find them easily. That's awesome.
Yeah. And you can nest folders 10 levels deep. So create subfolders as necessary. I mean, there is that 1,000 item limit for folders if you're on the pro account, but I don't want to see anybody having 1,000 images in a single folder unless it's just an archive and it's something you're going to sort through later. Because if you're going to be in the same position if you have a folder with 1,000 images in it, you might as well have left it all in your uploads folder. So carve it down into chunks that you can scan through and find what you're looking for.
Okay,
Um, if
cool.
you find yourself spending too much time searching and scrolling, you probably need another level.
Okay, that's a good tip, because then it's like, okay, how do I know that I need another? Okay, good, good, good. That's a great tip. So, speaking of, you've mentioned Canva Pro a couple of times. Anybody
Mhm.
that's new to Canva, tell us what the difference is. I know there's probably a lot of differences, but
There are.
when do they know? Like, most of us start on the free version.
Yeah.
When do we know, or when should we plan to be on Pro? And can you give us some of the why should we be on Pro, the benefits?
I think anybody watching this is a business owner, and that right there is going to make me say you really should be on pro.
Yeah.
And for if no other reason, then the only way you can have access to the brand kit feature is if you are on Canva Pro. And that, again, we're talking about saving time and being more efficient when we're using Canva so that you can get in there, get things created, and
Mm,
get out and get back to the things that are, probably more important that you'd be spending your time on. And that brand kit is really going to help you do that because you're going to have all of your brand assets, your logos, your colors, and your fonts right at your fingertips. You're not going to spend time searching for that color hex code of that particular shade of lavender that you have in your brand kit because it's already there for you. And it's also going to ensure that the content you're putting out for your business is much more consistently branded because
yes.
you're using the same fonts, you're using the same color palette, and you're also not having to search for the right version of your logo because it's all there. So for that reason, I do think business owners do need to be on it. But
Mhm.
I'm also a fan of, trying something out first to make sure the value is there for you before you actually put any money down on it, which is why I think it's worthwhile doing a trial
Mhm.
to test out the features. And then for the most part, the people that I teach end up sticking with it because
Okay.
it's just such a game changer. And then there's other things like the one-click resize. If you want to take an Instagram image and resize it into the right specs for a Facebook post or into LinkedIn or into a cover image or whatever it might be, to
Mhm.
be able to click on that, choose the sizes that you want to copy and resize it into and use that as a starting point as opposed to having to create a new design and copy and paste all the elements over.
Mhm.
It's just so much faster that again, I think that makes it absolutely worthwhile. And then there's other little things like that 200 versus 1,000 items. You have a lot more storage space as well. I think you get 5 gigabytes on a free plan, which if you have a lot of images or video is going to eat that up pretty quickly. Whereas you have a terabyte of storage on a pro plan. So we're talking a big difference between the two plans.
Yeah.
And then there's a host of little things like you can't download images with a transparent background unless you're on pro. You
I
can't
didn't
use
know that.
Yeah, so that's pro feature. You can't There's a lot of little download functions that are only available if you're on the pro plan. You have access to the whole template library, the entire stock library,
Mhm.
and given that the cost of Canva Pro is not all that expensive,
It's
it's not. I'm not sure what it is in US dollars because mine comes up in Canadian, but I think it's for me it's like I think it's like 16.99 a month Canadian, and it's like 13 bucks US.
yeah,
If you go monthly, it's less if you pay per month if you go annually. It's
right.
not an overly expensive program, and if
Oh,
you think
it's
about
so
the
easy.
time that you're saving, it's like, how much is your time worth?
Mhm.
You save
I think
half
it's
an hour. It's
for
worthwhile.
I think that the value is absolutely there. Having
Mhm.
switched to the pro plan over a year ago, just some of the extra things like you're saying, that resize feature, that would be worth getting the pro plan
Yeah,
because there's
it's the
lots.
reason I did.
Yeah.
Like when they first launched, it was called Canva for Work. I think
Uh-huh.
it was 2015.
Hmm.
2015? Yeah, I think it's 2015. And the brand kit didn't even exist then. A lot of these things didn't exist, but that resize feature, like, yeah, that makes it worth it. That
Yeah.
was an easy decision. Yeah.
So let me ask you real quick. I've got two more questions. One is, how do you feel about I think it's called Magic Write. That's Canva's version of AI.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Have you played around with it, and can you compare it to Chat GPT that everybody's talking about? I've played around with it a little bit. I think it's pretty cool, but I'd love to hear, as a verified expert from Canva, what you think of it.
I will say it's not something I've played. I'm probably one of the only people on the planet who's not played around with Chat GPT yet. I've just had my hands full with a lot of like primarily planning, prepping for that organization training last week. So
Yeah.
I haven't played around with it yet, but a lot of my fellow experts have been, and it's interesting to see. I've seen some really incredible things that they've created and the uses that it can be used for in terms of finding ways to be more efficient. But I also have seen, you know, some AI fails that make it clear that it's not going to be putting graphic designers out of business anytime soon.
Right.
So
Right.
I think there's a use, like with anything, I think there's a use for it. It's just finding the appropriate places to use it and decide what makes the most sense. But I think we're gonna see probably more from Canva in terms of AI. I'm quite curious to see some of the new stuff that's coming down the pipe.
Interesting. And you've mentioned the Canva organizational training that you did for Canva,
Mhm.
the company.
Yeah.
Is that available to the public where our listeners could find it?
Yep.
Is it on YouTube? Where can they find that?
I actually, so it's not on YouTube, but I actually just added it. So I have a resources bundle. It's free. There's no email opt-in. There's no cost. It's just here's a bunch of stuff to get you started. And I did just add that training onto that page.
Nice.
So I'm trying to remember it's just brendacadman.com/, Canva introduction.
Okay.
So if you go on there and scroll down, you'll see a few boxes of free stuff, and then the one that says, a replay to the training.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us really quick before we get to the questions, what is your favorite thing about Canva? What's your favorite thing to create? And what do you find yourself using like all the time that you
Oh
can't?
my God, what do I not use it for? Um, I mean, I use it for all of every single presentation I have done, every single course lesson I have created, every single course worksheet I have created, has come out of Canva. But I like to also use it for creating. I like to look for opportunities to bring a little bit of surprise and delight into my business where I can. So I've used it to create custom welcome, cards and packages and things that I can put together that are branded, and it just every little touch point where I can infuse a little bit of personalization, a little bit of branding into. I
Mhm.
like to find a way to use Canva to do that. And I mean, creating the welcome kits is probably one of my favorite things to do with it. But what I
Nice.
use it for most is feature images in my website. Um, yeah, basically, if it's visual content coming out of my business, it was created in Canva,
Nice.
100%.
I'm looking in the comments. There are so many people here with us. They're so excited about this. I'm looking for, I know we've got some questions. Let me scan down. Katie asked, do you have a Canva tutorial or training for beginners? And it sounds like you do that organizational training you've got, but I know you've also got some other things out there that may be free or low cost. Tell us about that.
So I think the best place to go is if you go to brendacadman.com/everything, you'll see everything I've got.
Awesome.
You will see freebies, you will see very low cost courses. That reminds me, I just made a course change. So I need to go update a price on something. Let's jot that down. But they're not expensive programs. There's a whole lot of these small courses. There is a Canva for beginners course there. It's
Okay.
$47. And then I've got 2 more courses I'm working on, and I am determined to have out by the end of the month. One is about creating your marketing materials,
Uh-huh.
specifically the different kinds of marketing materials, and one is about creating your course and client materials. So again,
Nice.
those are going to be $97 courses. So um, there's lots of stuff there. There's also freebies and things that will get you started, and all kinds of resources. I have no shortage of content to share.
I love that. I love that. Okay, Lisa asked, I don't know how to use a transparency on my Canva page. When would I use that? And again, we have to have Canva Pro to get that feature. But
The transparent
question to
background.
ask, why would we need a transparent background? Like what situations?
Now there are guidelines around. So if you were using Canva to create like a logo, um, there are definitely guidelines around doing that you need to be aware of, because you can't trademark anything unless you're just creating your logo with lines and shapes and fonts. You're you can't trademark anything that you've used an image or icon or illustration from
Uh-huh.
their stock library. But still, sometimes people just need a quick logo for a program, or if you're creating some sort of icon or something that you want to use on your website and you need to have a transparent background in it because you don't want to have a white box behind it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to download an image with that transparent background, whether it's as a file ending in PNG or an SVG,
Mm-hmm.
you're only going to be able to do that if you have the pro plan. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to have that transparent background. For some people, it's not a big deal and they never run into that situation, but I often am using icons and images to add into my website for
Mm-hmm.
feature images, or I'm needing to, you find all these creative little places where you realize it would be really helpful if I could just do something and just be able to wipe that background out.
Right.
And that can be, work really well, especially if you are using that background remover, which again is also only a pro feature. Where
Okay.
if you want to cut out of something where
Yeah.
you want to be able to download it with a transparent background and then pull it back into Canva so you can put it on some neat backgrounds or use it as a feature in some of your designing, you're going to need that ability to download that
Got
transparent
it.
background as well.
Got it. Okay. I can't see the name of this person. It just says Facebook user, but they said they're asking about adding hyperlinks. They said they followed Google on how to add hyperlinks. And when they saved the project and emailed it to themselves, the hyperlink on the flyer didn't work. Do you have in your resources, that's something that they can find in there, right? The correct way to do that?
So the first thing I would ask is, what's the format of how you downloaded it? If you download hyperlinks, this is not a Canva issue. It's a nature of how images and file formats work. Images don't hold hyperlinks. If you are downloading something as a JPEG file or a PNG file,
Nice.
it doesn't matter if you added a hyperlink. It's not going to show, because that's not how image files work.
Got it.
But if you download it as a PDF, it will work. It should retain that hyperlink. If it's not, it might be worth reaching out to Canva's help desk, because it should be preserving it.
Got it.
The other way that you're only going to be able to retain the link is if you share a link to the design itself. You can share a link to view a design, like view it as a presentation. That's going to retain the functionality of a link. If you've shared a design as a Canva website or just a link to view the design directly, the link will work on PDF. But I'm going to hazard a guess that you downloaded it as an image file, and that's why it's not working.
Got it. Okay, that's a really good tip. That's a really good tip. Okay, let's talk about I know you got a freebie for everybody. I know you said brendacadman.com/everything. Is there anything else that you want to give the listeners or direct them to? I know you still have your free Facebook group.
I do. Yes.
Yeah. What's the name of that?
It's called How to Use Canva. It's very complicated and fancy.
I love it.
Easiest way to get there is if you go to howtousecanva.com, it'll just forward you directly to the Facebook group.
That's perfect. And anything else that you want to highlight? Any promotion you have coming up?
I would just say, if organization is something that's interesting to you and you're not you need a little bit of a helping hand to get started. I mean, I do have a course about that, but if you kind of are wanting to start slow, there's also on that everything page, there is a create your Canva filing cabinet in 5 days challenge. It's just a little email prompt for 5 days. It's at least going to break it down into some bite-sized chunks so you can get started. But there is a course there, and that's the one I need to go update on everything. It's gone up to $67 now, but it's worth a lot more in my opinion. So,
I know
and
that it is.
yeah.
I've seen some of your work and I have heard the results that people have gotten. So I know it's worth more than that. One more question real quick that just came in. And this is the last question we can take. Do you have any tutorials on Instagram grid templates?
Oh, that's such. Are you talking about the 9 grid that everybody is wanting to do? I don't, but I will tell you that it's one of those templates that I think Canva is lacking. I haven't been able to find any really great 9 grid templates in their template library. And I actually, one of my fellow Canva experts is a fantastic designer and one of Canva's creators, and I keep poking him saying, we need these. Go create them. Go create them. Everybody will download them. Go create. So
Well, poke him again.
More of those.
Poke him again today and go, hey, I was asked this question again today.
Again.
Okay, my friends, I am going to wrap this up. If you have more questions for Brenda, if you're in my Facebook group called Be a Confident Entrepreneur, Get Visible and Grow Your Income. If you're not in the group, you need to be in the group if you're an entrepreneur and you have an online business. But hop in there, join us. Brenda is in that group. She is one of the kindest people that I've ever met and just so generous with her time. There was one day where Jill Voxered me and she said, is something going on with Canva? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no idea, but I know who would know. Sent her a DM and said, Brenda, is Canva wonky today? And she was like, immediately responded, yes. So that's the kind of person she is. She wants to make sure you have success, and anything you get from her, whether it's free or paid, is going to be top notch. So I want to wrap this up for you guys. Talking about that free Facebook group. What's in it for you to join us? You can be amongst 1,700 other entrepreneurs that are building just like you. You heard Brenda say earlier, she's been an entrepreneur for 23 years, and it is still a freaking roller coaster every single day. And being in a group like ours with that community of support, where you're going to get guest experts like this, where you're going to get trainings from me, where you're going to be able to post and ask for help with a lead magnet, with your website content, I posted about an ad that I'm working on running, and everybody was really kind about giving me feedback about how they felt about it. So that's the benefit of being in a community, and it's completely free. It's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur, Get Visible and Grow Your Income. And as always, I want to know what you think. If there's a guest expert I can bring in for you, I want you to tell me who that is, or the topic at least, and let me find somebody, because I have a vast network of people just like Brenda that are top notch in their game. And if you're loving this content, I want you to join us live here every Thursday at 11:30 Central, and I'll bring you another topic. And my brain is so fogged with this, with antibiotics and Allegra and this cough drop in my mouth, I can't remember what I'm talking about next week, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. And remember, you hear me say this all the time. You guys, being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. Do not try to do this by yourself. Get into a community of people that are like-minded, that can cheer you on, because chances are your friends and family don't understand exactly what you're doing, and they can't give you the support that you need. So being around people like me and Brenda and all the people that are in our community in my Facebook group, it's worth your time to join us and know that you're not alone, feeling like, oh my gosh, can I really do this? All right, my friends. Brenda, thank you again for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
I adore you. I've been admiring your work for a while. You guys connect with her, all things Canva, and have a great rest of the week and a great weekend. And I will see you guys next week.